Oh, it looks so good with the intercooler on there. Welcome back, guys. If you're watching this video, you've probably already seen part 1 of the turbo install. I'll give you a quick run through and recap of what we did in part 1. So this is the D16Y7, and we got our intercooler piping pretty much on there. We got a hole cut in here for the intercooler, manifold, wastegate, turbo. These flanges for the oil lines are on. So if you don't know, single cam engine, and this is the EK body style or the EJ6. This is part 2. So today we're gonna start with the oil pan. Let's get to it. My apologies, I just started rushing into it. I didn't realize I didn't explain why we're taking the oil pan off, because you're probably wondering, why are you taking the oil pan off for a turbo install? Well, this bung is for the oil drain off the turbo, right up here. And this bung has to go in here. So an important step for putting this bung in is, you see these 10 mils here? You don't want to put it directly underneath one of those, because then you won't be able to put the oil pan back on properly. So you want to do it in between those. And another thing is, you don't want it down here, because the oil won't drain back into a big pool of oil. It has to be above where the oil is pooling. And let's do that. All right, I just put a small X where I want to drill my hole on the oil pan there, just roughly. So first thing we have to do to take off the oil pan is remove this exhaust piece. Okay, they're 13s, I thought they were 12s. Just put my 13 away. Okay, now back to these bolts here. It's a 13 and a 15. And with the second one here, it might fall on me. That's a risk I'm willing to take. Okay, it's got a brace here. Okay, now we got 2 bolts up here holding this bracket on. I'm gonna go ahead and take this one out and that one out, and then I'll check in. That brace came out pretty easy, actually. It was just the 1 bolt there, and I ended up taking the oil filter out as well, because it helped me get this 1 bolt out. Next is this transmission brace here. Should be 4 bolts. I'm missing 1, so it's only 3 for me. 2, 3, and 4 somewhere over here. Oh, it's missing this one as well, so I only have 2. Ooh, I just smacked my elbow really hard trying to get this bolt off. But meanwhile, I was just thinking, isn't it crazy how much power these Honda engines can hold? Whoops, we're going the wrong way now? No, we're going the wrong way. I mean, like a K20 that's in a CRV can support like 500 horsepower on stock internals, or somewhere around there. And this engine that's maybe 80 horsepower to the wheels can easily do 160 wheel horsepower on stock internals. Like, you can double the horsepower. It's so insane. This car is missing bolts like crazy, so I'm glad I took these 2 bolts from the junkyard. I'm hoping they'll fit here when I put this transmission brace back on. But now I recommend wearing safety glasses. That is, unless of course you like rusty eyeballs, because a lot of rust. I started loosening 3 of these bolts already, these little 10 mils, and rust is pouring down into my eyes. So throw your safety glasses on. Let's take these off. Okay, we're underneath the pan now. This cover for the transmission, I believe, has to come off to access a few of the pan bolts. So let's take that out. I can't remember if I told you guys or not, but the oil pan is drained out already. All the oil is out of there. Ooh, that bolt was really loose. That one wasn't even tightened. Look at that, there's rust on the first ½ centimeter or so. So it wasn't even in all the way. And let's try not to have this oil pan fall on our face. So we're having some issues with one of these bolts here. It's this one. So it was just slipping over it, so I went ahead and brake cleaned it off, cleaned it up good, cleaned out this, and now we're just gonna stick it on there. Oh, see, it just like slips right over. Maybe it's closer to a 9 mil now. Hold on, I just got it off. What I did is I used a 3/8 because that is just slightly smaller than a 10 mil, but not as small as a 9 mil. So it ended up coming off. All right, here we go. Oh, it must be, well, no, it's not aluminum. It's just really light. I'm surprised I can hold it with one hand very easily. There we are. Cool. There's your oil pickup. Your dipstick is right here. Very cool. Okay, we will take our oil pan gasket out of here. Now this has little metal washers, and I ordered a new oil pan gasket. It's not here yet, but I don't know if I have to keep these little washers, so I'm gonna keep this gasket for now. So I had drained the car's oil and then pushed it back there and didn't look at it. Now I'm about to take the oil pan out and it's still dripping a bit, so I'm gonna put this oil drip pan, drain pan in there. But looking in here, there's only like a liter or a liter and a half of oil. Now, I'm pretty sure this thing takes more than that. I know when we bought the car, it was about 2 liters low on oil. So maybe on our 1,000-kilometer journey home, this thing burnt like 3 liters of oil. I'm gonna say it's gonna be around 3.5 or 4 liters it should be. So that's not very good, but anyway, it's good we're doing this now. Oil pan gasket. Our oil pan can come with me. Oil drain pan can go under there. Perfect. Okay, so I have my X right here. What I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna center it more in between the 2 holes here where it screws onto the bottom of the engine. So right about there, and we'll go ahead and screw it in. Get right there. Make sure it looks good on the inside. Now, don't get too greedy. We'll check and make sure how big the hole needs to be. All right, it's gotta be this big. Drill's having trouble here. I think it's because I'm catching the second part of it on the inside there. Perfect. All right, a lot just happened. So I drilled this hole here, and then on the inside, there was some extra metal in here that I drilled through as well. So my seats for this bung that tightens on, I have one of the ones that you don't weld, you tighten it on, and you tighten both sides. It wouldn't have sealed properly, so I thought, okay, I'll just weld it instead. Now this one actually, I don't think it's aluminum because it's heavy. The oil drain kit came with an aluminum one, but I knew this was a steel pan. I did my research. So I got one of these so I wouldn't have to weld. But I thought, oh, I'll go ahead and weld it anyways. So I went to weld it. It didn't work, it didn't stick, and it just wasn't working out. I went inside for a bit. Now I'm back out. I realized I could cut that inner layer of metal out and then still use this one how it's supposed to be used and tighten it on here. So a lot of stuff happened there, but we're getting back on the horse. So one of those, it's like a washer with rubber on it that protrudes out. So one of those washers on each side, and we'll stick it on here. All right, let's just go ahead and tighten this thing on here pretty much as tight as we can. All right, next is our oil filter sandwich adapter. So if you don't know what they are, basically, this is the part that is the same on your oil filter that threads in to the oil filter spot. But on this, you sandwich this plate in between. So now this seals to your engine, and now your oil filter goes on the bottom here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna Teflon tape these 2 block offs, and then my oil feed line is gonna go into this one. Okay, make sure you tighten these up. We're into the car now. It's really hard to see, but essentially we're going to be slapping this oil filter sandwich plate right on the oil filter spot there and run the oil line, the oil feed line, up through the intake manifold, through some of those holes up there. So I went ahead and fed the oil line up through the intake runners here. Up through here, I just tucked it in here, so now I can go deal with screwing on the oil sandwich adapter. All right, so I got a microfiber up in here. I'm just cleaning it off so it has a nice mating surface, and then we'll go ahead and stick it on. I hope you guys like all the little steps I'm showing here, because I've watched a lot of GoPro videos, or a lot of turbo videos, but not a lot of them show all these little steps, so I want to let you guys know and be transparent. Next, you want to grab a little bit of oil on your finger here. I'll grab a little more, actually. And we're going to rub that on the rubber seal on the sandwich adapter so that it seals well. Alright, now I'm just tightening on the oil filter sandwich adapter by hand because it's hard to get a ratchet in here. Okay, now we'll try to ratchet it on there. Okay, the oil filter sandwich is on there, good to go. It was hitting one of those sensors, so I had to adjust it just a little bit to the side. Now I'm going to go ahead and throw my new oil filter on. Actually, I didn't put oil on there, hold on. Thought I may as well put it on while I'm down here already. Nice and tight on there, good. Gets a little dirty under there. I kept hitting the damn oil pickup and getting oil all over myself. I'll just clean up here and then we'll throw that oil line on. So here's our oil line. Lots of length here, so we'll get it tightened on here. Now I'm wondering if I'm going to be able to get a wrench on here. Hopefully. Okay, it's coming together now. Look at this. I'm guessing with hot oil rushing through here, it'd probably melt some cables. So in the future, we're gonna tie this up somewhere so it doesn't rest on other cables. Next order of business is this downpipe. The reason I bought this downpipe is because it was about $60 cheaper than the previous downpipe, the previous cheapest. And I knew I'd have to cut it and flip it 180. So we're gonna go ahead and chop it at this weld here and then flip it the other way around. Every good turbo install needs some good food. Oh yeah. Okay, I have been cutting this pipe for about an hour and a half at this point. It's crazy. I've gotten through on both sides, but I might use a hacksaw now because it looks like I'm at the max this tool can go. It's starting to leak oil out the end here, oil out of here, so hacksaw it is. You know what? Oh, hey, didn't see you there. Oh my lordy. That took me way too long. Let's go throw this on the car now.
It's a sad day.
Look at it. I thought it was gonna point down. Oh no, that took me like 4 hours to cut that. Now I gotta cut it again. Another 4 hours. I just wanted to have it shoot down. I was gonna weld it later, but I just wanted to get everything together so I could start it up. That's gonna be trouble because that's going right toward the intercooler pipe. You don't want hot exhaust in your intercooler piping.